Real quick, want to make something very clear about this one because it is important. This is not a Vostok Europe watch. Okay, we do have two brands on here tonight, and I understand why the focus is the overarching of the Vostok Europe because that's the bulk of what we're selling. This is a Moscow Classic watch, which is a different brand. They are actually out of Moscow, not Lithuania. This is the Zvezda by Moscow Classic. Now, it has the same movement in it because Vostok will source movements to more than one company. But it is an important thing to point out a difference, too, is that this is the 2416B movement in this one, whereas the ones in the Vostok Europe are the proprietary ones. But this is, Moscow Classic. We've sold it together on television before. It's still a Russian company. It's just they are two very different companies than Vostok Europe, and of course, they compete with one another both of those want to make sure we don't get that confused. The Zvezda is named after basically it was the K266 class, which was like the one that people would have heard of would have been the Kursk, which was in that terrible accident where several submariners died. This was the sister submarine, which this one is named after. A little bit different decoration on this because it is Vostok building this for Moscow Classic, so you've got a little different decoration look. This is a 10 ATM water resistant. What is really cool about this is I love the coloring in this particular watch, and it is a silicone strap.
Yeah, the coloring on this is blue, obviously. It's a blue versus a silver, but the blue is actually a very, very dark. Yeah, not a blue. I'm going to call it ocean blue.
I actually have this one in my personal collection.
And by the way, inside at 20 left, this is going to go. That's why we threw 90 seconds up. This is going to be out of here. And this is real Cyrillic, of course, that is on here.
Oh, yeah, that's a picture of the real Cyrillic. That was good.
It is.
I'll pick on you about that one.
Let's move on, I guess, and look at other things.
Okay, here's another Moscow Classic.
Yes.
Okay. And again, just so we make sure we keep the brand separate for you guys. This is I love this particular piece from Moscow Classic. This is the Aeronavigator. You've seen this watch before, Tim, but you haven't seen it in this configuration. We've sold, you and I have actually sold Aeronavigators before. You probably remember.
Absolutely.
But they didn't have it in the Vostok automatic movement. It was only in the manual wind movements. This just came out with the Vostok automatic movement. It's the same.
And I don't recall that in orange.
No, they didn't do it in orange before.
Either.
This is new, too. This just came out. You could argue that this is like, I'm overstating to use this phrase, but we're almost like the world premiere here because this just came out.
This has been out in the United States.
Absolutely.
Okay.
This has been out weeks. Not months. This just came out, especially with this orange dial, and I love the orange dial on this. The Aeronavigator, and another thing about Moscow Classic is they tend to be heavy on the Cyrillic, which I do like that. I understand, Vostok Europe is trying to be more of a world brand, so you see more of the English in there.
International language.
Yeah, but Moscow Classic, smaller company, smaller brand, they do tend to do a lot more in the Cyrillic, which I really like that in terms of the cool factor, of it being a Russian timepiece.
It's a Russian watch speaking in Russian, which makes complete sense.
Right. This is, again, it's got the 32 jewel movement in it. Now, I just learned something new about this one. Somebody actually asked here at Shop-NBC when they were looking at the watch, why does that internal sub-dial go up to 100? You got to get at some point we should definitely get a tight look at that. All right, you see that internal sub-dial there, how it goes up to 100. Here, I'm going to
grab that panel tool.
Okay, so we're away from it now. We're right in here. It goes up to 100. What I learned is that is a metric conversion of time. They called it, what did they say?
Is it decatime?
Decametric, decatime, yeah. And it's used in, the reason it's on, say, for instance, this being an aviation tied watch, it's used in space calculations, it's used in flight calculations for when you need a more accurate timekeeping.
It's time in metric, basically.
It's time in metric, so each second is actually less than what we would consider a normal second.
It's still 1 minute, but it'd be
still
1/100th of a minute versus 1/60th of a minute.
So it's actually less than a second. And that's why that's in there. And I learned all that in the process of learning about this watch. So that's one of the things I love about what I do and about being the guy who brings in the Russian watches.
Sold out, actually. We have to go.
Okay, we have to go.
But it was a very nice story.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Sure how much he's going to have to talk about, but he's going to be here in town at least. There's another one.
Another sellout.
So